The early challenges of a young King Solomon's rise to the throne was nothing short of a political chess game, full of intrigue, ambition, and strategic maneuvering. As the son of Bathsheba and David, Solomon wasn't the natural heir, as his older brothers, including the ambitious Adonijah, were first in line. Adonijah's bid for the throne, with the backing of key military leaders like Joab, created an immediate power struggle. Bathsheba, aware of the stakes, played a crucial role in ensuring Solomon's coronation by securing David's blessing. It was a delicate dance of persuasion, secrecy, and timely action. Solomon's early reign was marked by his need to consolidate power and win the loyalty of his court. With a kingdom rife with factionalism, he had to navigate a volatile political landscape. His first acts were decisive: the execution of Adonijah for plotting against him and the dismissal of Joab. These actions, though brutal, established his authority and set the tone for his leadership. However, the young king also had to deal with the complexities of establishing his rule over a kingdom that was a mixture of loyalty and resentment. It wasn't just a battle for the throne, it was a battle for Israel's soul. Though Solomon is often remembered for his wisdom and grandeur, much of his reign was spent in the shadows of political maneuvering. His ability to outwit rivals within his own court was a testament to his shrewdness and pragmatism. One of his most formidable challenges came from his brother Adonijah, who had attempted to usurp the throne. With Joab's military support, Adonijah was a serious threat to Solomon's newly acquired power. Solomon's response was calculated and swift. Instead of open conflict, he chose diplomacy and subtlety, securing alliances with influential figures and exercising restraint. His wisdom shone brightest when he decided to spare Adonijah's life after the attempted rebellion, recognizing the value of preserving peace through strategic decisions rather than bloodshed. However, when Adonijah again sought to marry Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, this was seen as a direct challenge to his throne. In a final, definitive move, Solomon ordered Adonijah's execution, cementing his hold on power. Additionally, Solomon faced opposition from within his own military ranks. General Joab, who had served David loyally, became a formidable enemy once his influence was threatened by Solomon's rise. But Solomon, understanding the delicate balance of power, had Joab executed, removing another significant obstacle to his reign. One of the defining moments of Solomon's reign occurred during a dream at Gibeon, where God appeared to him. At this pivotal moment, Solomon, still young and untested, was given the opportunity to ask for anything. Unlike his father David, whose reign was filled with war, Solomon was granted a time of peace. Yet this peace came with its own set of expectations. The divine encounter was not just a test of Solomon's wisdom, it was a test of his character. Solomon's request for wisdom over wealth or power highlighted his understanding of the burdens of kingship. His choice was not a reflection of his naivety. It was a deep awareness of his limitations and the responsibility he faced. God, impressed by Solomon's humility, granted him wisdom beyond measure and promised him wealth and honor. This moment marked the beginning of his reign as a leader of unparalleled intellect, capable of understanding the complexities of human nature and governance. However, the lead-up to this encounter wasn't without its challenges. Solomon faced immense pressure, not only from external enemies, but also from within his own family. His father, David, had left behind a legacy that he was expected to uphold. This pressure likely weighed heavily on him, and his prayer for wisdom can be seen as a request for divine guidance to lead with justice and righteousness. Solomon's wisdom became legendary, not just in Israel, but across the ancient world. His ability to settle disputes, offer profound insights, and create lasting proverbs made him a revered figure. His wisdom wasn't just theoretical, it was practical, grounded in an understanding of human behavior and justice. One of the most notable examples of Solomon's wisdom was his ruling in the famous case of two women who came to him, both claiming to be the mother of the same baby. Solomon's solution, proposing to divide the child in half, was a test of the women's true intentions. The real mother, moved by the prospect of losing her child, immediately offered to give up her claim, revealing her identity. This case became a cornerstone of his reputation as a wise and discerning ruler. Additionally, Solomon's wisdom was evident in his writings. The Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs are considered some of the most profound literary works in the Bible. These texts reflect Solomon's journey, not only as a king, but as a philosopher wrestling with the complexities of life, faith, and human nature. The story of the two mothers is one of Solomon's most famous acts of wisdom. It's a perfect illustration of his ability to understand the depths of human emotion and the motivations behind people's actions. Solomon's solution to the dispute over the child was both an act of genius and a testament to his understanding of motherhood and love. The story itself is a powerful symbol of Solomon's reign, one that was marked by fairness, justice, and a profound understanding of human nature. But it also speaks to the weight of leadership. Solomon's judgment was not just about solving a particular case. It was about demonstrating his ability to rule justly in all situations, no matter how complex or emotionally charged. Beyond the political implications, this story also reveals a deeper insight into Solomon's relationship with God. His wisdom was a divine gift, but it was also shaped by his constant need for guidance and reflection. In this case, it was God who provided the insight that allowed Solomon to reach the truth. Through this judgment, Solomon's wisdom became not just a tool for governance, but a reflection of divine intervention in his rule. The construction of the first temple in Jerusalem was Solomon's crowning achievement, both in terms of his rule and his spiritual legacy. The temple was not just an architectural marvel. It was the fulfillment of a dream that had been passed down through his father David. David, though a man of war, had yearned to build a house for God, but it was Solomon who was chosen to bring that vision to life. The construction process was monumental. Solomon enlisted skilled workers from across Israel, including stonecutters, carpenters, and artisans, to create a structure that would become the center of Jewish worship for centuries. The resources for the temple were vast: cedar wood from Lebanon, gold from Ophir, and the finest stones from Jerusalem. Solomon spared no expense in ensuring the temple was a fitting house for the Lord. However, the project also came at a cost. Solomon imposed heavy taxes and forced labor on his people, which created dissatisfaction among the common folk. While the grandeur of the temple symbolized the height of Israel's prosperity, it also marked the beginning of a strain on the relationship between Solomon and his people. Would you like me to continue expanding on the rest of the topics in a similar manner? Solomon's reign is synonymous with unparalleled wealth and prosperity. His kingdom flourished under his wise governance and keen economic strategies. Solomon's control over trade routes, particularly through the Red Sea and to the east, ensured that Israel was a hub for commerce and resources. The king struck alliances with surrounding nations, such as Hiram of Tyre, to import luxury goods like timber, gold, and precious stones for his monumental projects, including the temple and his royal palace. The kingdom's wealth also stemmed from Solomon's management of resources and trade. Solomon introduced systems of taxation and tribute from surrounding nations, making Israel one of the most influential nations in the ancient world. His court was filled with luxury, and his fame as a wealthy ruler spread across the known world, even attracting the Queen of Sheba, who came to test his wisdom and see for herself the extent of his riches. Despite the outward appearance of prosperity, the immense wealth also came with challenges. Solomon's pursuit of wealth and grandeur led to the heavy taxation of his people, which would later sow seeds of discontent. Nevertheless, Solomon's reign represented the height of Israel's political and economic influence, a golden age that would never be fully replicated after his time. The visit of the Queen of Sheba to Solomon's court is one of the most famous diplomatic encounters in history. Sheba, located in modern-day Ethiopia or Yemen, was a powerful and wealthy kingdom in its own right. Intrigued by the rumors of Solomon's wisdom and wealth, she traveled a long distance to meet him, bringing with her gifts of spices, gold, and precious stones. The Queen of Sheba's journey was not just for a diplomatic alliance. It was also a test of Solomon's renowned wisdom. The queen presented him with hard questions, and Solomon answered them all with ease, demonstrating his intellect and deep understanding of the world. This meeting solidified Solomon's reputation as the wisest and wealthiest king of his time. The encounter wasn't just a political or intellectual exchange. It was also a spiritual one. The Queen of Sheba was deeply impressed by Solomon's wisdom, but also by the presence of God in his rule. The meeting serves as a testament to the far-reaching influence of Solomon's reign, which extended well beyond the borders of Israel. It is said that after her visit, the Queen of Sheba praised the God of Israel and left with a greater understanding of divine wisdom. Solomon's numerous marriages played a significant role in his political and spiritual journey. The king had 700 wives and 300 concubines, many of whom were from foreign nations, making these marriages a strategic tool for forming alliances with neighboring kingdoms. These unions helped to secure peace with Israel's enemies and expand Solomon's influence. But they also had profound spiritual consequences. While Solomon's marriages initially strengthened his political position, they later led to spiritual decline. Many of his wives worshipped foreign gods, and Solomon, in his old age, allowed the worship of these idols in Israel. This act was a direct violation of the covenant between Israel and God, leading to God's anger and the eventual downfall of Solomon's kingdom. Solomon's descent into idolatry was influenced by his foreign wives, who turned his heart away from the God of Israel. His kingdom, once unified and devoted to worshiping the one true God, became a land of divided loyalties, with multiple religious practices being allowed. This spiritual erosion marked the beginning of the end for Solomon's reign and was one of the key factors that led to the division of the kingdom after his death. The story of Solomon's fall from grace is a tale of how a wise and powerful king, once beloved by God, allowed the influence of foreign gods to corrupt his heart. In his later years, Solomon's many marriages led him to embrace idolatry, a practice that directly contravened the laws given to Israel by God. Solomon allowed the worship of idols in high places, including the gods of his foreign wives, such as Ashtoreth, Milcom, and Chemosh. This shift from monotheism to polytheism signaled a major turning point in Israel's spiritual life. The kingdom, once a beacon of worship and devotion to God, became a divided and spiritually compromised nation. Solomon's failure to remain faithful to the God of Israel ultimately led to God's anger, and he told Solomon that he would tear the kingdom from his descendants, leaving only a remnant. Despite his wisdom, Solomon was not immune to the temptations of wealth and power. His indulgence in luxury, along with his spiritual compromise, contributed to a decline in the moral and religious fabric of his kingdom. The rise of idolatry during Solomon's reign was one of the key factors that led to the eventual downfall of Israel and the division of the kingdom after Solomon's death. During Solomon's reign, the prophet Ahijah played a pivotal role in warning the king about the consequences of his actions. Ahijah, a prophet of God, foretold the division of the kingdom after Solomon's death, revealing that Israel would be torn apart because of Solomon's disobedience to God. Ahijah's prophecy was a direct warning to Solomon about the consequences of his spiritual decline and the rise of idolatry in Israel. Solomon, despite his wisdom, ignored the warnings of the prophets, including Ahijah. This disregard for divine counsel would have long-term consequences for the nation of Israel. Ahijah's prophecy was fulfilled when the kingdom was divided into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, with the tribes of Israel rejecting Solomon's son Rehoboam as their king. Ahijah's role as a prophet was crucial in revealing the fate of Solomon's dynasty. His warning, however, went unheeded, and the consequences of Solomon's failure to stay true to God were felt for generations. The story of Ahijah serves as a reminder of the importance of heeding the voices of prophets and staying faithful to God's commands. Though Solomon is often remembered for his wisdom and peace, he was also a capable military strategist who ensured Israel's security during his reign. Solomon built a powerful army, though he preferred diplomatic solutions and alliances to warfare. His military strength was evident in his fortification of cities, the establishment of chariot cities, and the maintenance of a well-equipped standing army. One of Solomon's key military achievements was the fortification of Jerusalem and other cities across Israel. He built strongholds that protected the kingdom from external threats, particularly from the surrounding nations. Solomon also established alliances with powerful kings, such as King Hiram of Tyre, ensuring that Israel was safe from invasion. Although Solomon preferred peace over war, he understood the importance of military preparedness. He maintained a well-equipped and organized army, ready to defend the kingdom if necessary. This military strength, combined with Solomon's diplomatic prowess, allowed him to maintain peace and stability throughout his reign, ensuring that Israel remained a powerful and influential nation in the ancient world.